Thank you so much to the people who make these videos possible on Patreon, including the big patrons of this month, the Nerd Therapist and FanGirlStephie. Thanks, heroes. Hey, Pokemon Masters, Birdkeeper Toby here, and as I'm recording this, we've just had recently the announcement of Galarian evolutions. Evolutions specific to the region of Galar. Of course, we've got Obstagoon. Yeah, it's a new Pokemon. New names. And we have Galarian Weezing, which evolves from a regular Weezing. And this seems to be kind of like Alolan forms. You could take, for example, a regular Execute and evolve it into Alolan Executor. In the same way, you can take a regular Coughing and evolve it into Galarian Weezing. At first, they would appear to be the exact same thing, but then you take a little look closer. Look at Obstagoon. There's no Hoenn equivalent. There's no regular equivalent of Obstagoon. And actually, if you go on the Pokemon website and have a look at the lore for Obstagoon, you realize that it only evolves this way in Galar because that is what its ecological niche, that's how it's molded into it, and it needs to do that to survive. It's survival of the fittest. And that brings up a lot of questions, because next generation presumably is going to be Diamond and Pearl remakes. We're going to revisit that Sinnoh region, and Sinnoh is famous for one thing almost above all else. Evolutions to past generation Pokemon. Togekiss, Tangrowth, Electivire, Magmortar, Licky, Mamoswine, Yamega, Gliscor, Porygon Z, Leafeon, Glaceon. Did I miss any? Almost definitely I did. I mean, you also have Weavile, Honchkrow, Mismagius, and Ambipom, but they're like earlier in the Pokedex. There's kind of this whole spree of Pokemon that just sits at the end of the Pokedex for Sinnoh. And this is because Sinnoh came out at the same time as Heart Gold and Soul Silver. It was all part of the same generation, and Johto is also known very specifically for its evolutions to past generations. Crobat, Politoed, Blossom, Slowking, Espeon, Umbreon, Hitmontop, or Bellissi. There's, of course, all of the baby Pokemon as well in both of these generations, and the only other generation, of course, to do it is the Kalos region with Sylveon. And I saw this thread on 4chan, this leak that was kind of suggesting the idea that they might go back and retroactively make some of those Pokemon regional evolutions, regional exclusives. And I was a little bit, ooh, is that true? I'm worried about that. Because obviously I like to feel that the whole Pokemon world is interconnected, and if I go to Hoenn, I can still get a Scizor. Now, it's definitely confirmed that at least some of these Pokemon are appearing in Galar, regardless of where they learnt to evolve. We see Steelix and Togekiss and Weavile in the trailers for Pokemon Sword and Shield. And when you have a look at the confirmed Pokemon list on Cerebi, you see all of these evolutions. For example, we've seen a Rhydon in the trailer. I don't know if we've seen Rhyperior, but we've seen Rhydon, so you assume Rhyperior will absolutely be in the generation. But what if that's not the case anymore? I mean, after all, have we seen a Coughing in the trailer before? We would have assumed Weezing would be in the game, but Weezing's not in the game. Galarian Weezing is. What if Rhyperior is not in the game? What if instead it's Galarian Rhyperior? Which, by the way, any upgrade to Rhydon's evolution, I'm a fan of. In that sense, there could be some really good things here. We could see past Pokemon get new evolutions. Alternate versions of the evolutions that they already got. Now, of course, I'm more psyched to see Pokemon that evolve, that have never evolved before. Like Linoon, again, it means we can see Farfetch, we can see Lapras, we can see these other Pokemon that might have been rumored. We get to see these Pokemon, but if so, which Pokemon will become regional exclusive? First off, I think all baby Pokemon will exist regardless of the region. Having a regional exclusive baby seems like a very pointless thing, because no one's really trying to get it for competitive battling. But also it seems like a confusing thing, like what, Pikachu can only breed into Pichu in a certain region if it's in Johto? That doesn't make sense to me. And obviously we've already seen Steelix and Weavile and Togekiss and probably a couple of others. And I also can't help but feel like Hitmontop has to be the same regardless of every generation, just because of the way that its evolutionary line is, a split evolution across two different generations, but the baby is in the same generation as Hitmontop. It would be very confusing to see it the other way around. But this idea of past Pokemon maybe becoming regional exclusive sort of has a little bit of backing. I mean, this is the discussion point. I don't even know if I want this to happen. And by the way, I want to know what you think about it. Please leave a like and a comment, because if you do, you're not only letting me know what you think, but also you're entering the competition I've got going on, where if you leave a like and a comment on any video that has Sword and Shield in the title, you have the chance to win the Sword and Shield version of the Switch Lite with a copy of Sword and Shield. So that's a thing. It's worldwide. Might as well enter. There's no reason not to. In fact, if you leave a like and a comment on any of my videos with Sword and Shield in, you'll get the chance to win. But anyway, back to the video. We've kind of already seen this idea happen already on the Switch with Let's Go. because in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, you could get the first 151 Pokemon, plus Meltan and Melmetal, but you couldn't evolve them. You couldn't evolve any of the Eevee into any evolution other than Flareon, Vaporeon, and Jolteon. And it's not like the fan base that was playing these games didn't know about the existence of those Pokemon. After all, many of those Pokemon are available in Pokemon Go, and Pokemon Go is the audience that they're trying to bring in. Speaking of which, Pokemon Go uses mechanics like the Sinnoh Stone to get specific Sinnoh evolutions. I'm just interested to see if that's the direction it will go with Sinnoh, and whether when we're in Sinnoh, will we get Sinnoh forms or evolutions of other Pokemon. For example, what about a Sinnoh version of Flabebe or Floette? AZ's Floette specifically. This is a Pokemon that I think is almost definitely a Sinnoh version of Floette, given that this flower that it's riding on is a type of flower that I think you can find in Japan. I think that's what it's inspired by. But yeah, if so, which Pokemon? Another Pokemon I think it would be hard to do this with would be Porygon, Porygon 2, and Porygon Z, just because the evolutions are stretched out over 3 generations. That said, potentially in Galar, we could see Porygon 3 instead of Porygon Z, the final version of the Pokemon as it was meant to be accomplished, before the data got corrupted. Just some food for thought. Anyway, this is all just a kind of very speculative video, just thinking about this thing that I saw on the thread. Do you think this is likely to happen? Will they retroactively do this? Do you hope for it? Do you not? Do you think this provides for new evolutions? Or are you like, no, this just breaks up the Pokemon world even more? Although, given that they're segmenting the Pokedexes anyway, does that matter anymore? I'm interested to hear what you have to think. Thank you for watching. Of course, there'll be new videos soon, and so hi, Pokemon Masters.
This is Ash Ketchum. You just watched a video by Birdkeeper Toby. That makes you a Pokemon